Hello, and welcome to How To with hawemuurhh, and I am hawemuurhh. Actually, I'm Thando Kambushe. If you watch my life update on my lifestyle channel, you'll know that this is a completely new channel that is solely focused on how-to content. Today, I thought it would be a great idea to kick off the first video with how to build up your content creation equipment. I know for one, I would have loved somebody to help me in the process of accumulating equipment for my channel. So I've decided to just share some tips that I think might be useful to help you build up your content creation equipment. Sadly, this is not actually a video where I'm just telling you guys the equipment I have, because I don't see that much value in telling you guys this is everything I have, but I think there's more value in you actually figuring out how to go about building up your content creation equipment. But if what you came here for is what equipment I have, I'm just going to give you a quick run through of, well, most of the equipment that I have in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I know some of you guys have just gotten what you came here for, but let me not forget, please may you subscribe to this channel. We're so new, we're brand new, just been birthed, so please do me a favor. If you're watching this video, please subscribe. It's free, it will help me, and I really want to grow this channel, and it will really help me if you guys watch till the end. If you like my video, share it, comment, and subscribe. So the first thing to consider, it's an umbrella point, and it's affordability. Affordability is a factor in terms of you building up your content creation equipment, be it at the beginning of your journey, the middle of your journey. There's no end to the journey, but essentially affordability is a factor throughout. So I'm just mentioning that up front because I will refer to it a lot, because it is something that you're going to have to consider at every step. So affordability, self-explanatory. Second point is, what platform are you creating for? It's all good and well to realize that you need equipment. Yeah, sure. But the order of importance of the equipment that you need is actually based on which platform you're creating for. If you're creating for Instagram, I mean, your phone can very well do the job, amazingly so. And you don't need a camera for Instagram as much as you would for YouTube. So if you know which platform you're creating for, it helps you to prioritize what equipment is actually needed for that platform and what isn't. By that, I also mean that a lot of equipment you can repurpose and use for another platform. And that's also something that you need to consider when you are going into content creation, that you don't buy something that serves only one purpose and isn't really versatile in helping you create content. But when you consider the platform that you're creating for, you allow yourself to see a spectrum of the equipment that you might need, but then being able to actually eliminate the equipment that you really don't need, and then just getting the equipment that you can afford for the platform that you're actually focused and creating for. The third point is research. You actually need to research what equipment you need for the platform that you're creating for, why you would need it, and what are the specs that make it ideal for the content that you're creating or the platform that you're creating for. You can't simply just watch hawemuurhh's video and decide that, yep, that M50, that's what she uses, and then buy it too. You're making an uninformed purchase decision, because you also don't know the longevity of the equipment that you are buying and whether it will actually really serve you. We have so many sources to actually look from. This video, for example, there's other creators' videos on YouTube, on Instagram, and they break down all the equipment they use and why, but it isn't enough to sift through all of that information without you understanding it. So it's also very important to do your own research and actually figure out why this, why that. Again, affordability, because it will still remain a factor, because something that I can afford, you probably can't. This brings me to another point, which is number 4, substitutability. By substitutability, I mean you may be able to afford something or you may not, and you may have done your research as well, and then now you have options. But then what you need to consider is the equipment that you may want and can't afford right now. What can you substitute it for? I'll make a simple example. When I started my channel, and even when I was just creating on Instagram purely, I had my phone, and that was good enough for me, right? And when I started my channel too, I still used my phone. Instead of using a camera, I could still use my phone. And essentially, that was a good enough alternative or substitute for a camera for a certain period of time. I'll also give another example where I, for one, do not want to and cannot substitute my tripods. That is an essential piece of equipment for me. And as much as you may be able to layer your phone or your camera on books or whatever and mount it there, I personally do not want to do that. But somebody else can substitute and be perfectly comfortable with that. So consider what you can actually substitute, so that you don't buy things that you can't afford, that you don't need, when you have something else that can actually do the same job. That brings me to my final point. Based on all the above points that I've mentioned, affordability, research, and substitutability, you're able to use all of these points to then plan for bigger purchases that you may not necessarily need, but will be able to amplify your content. So, for example, for YouTube, I'm sure if you have been watching my videos, even from the other channel, you'll know that I have been editing on my phone. It was something that I did because I had no other option. I didn't have any other means to edit, but I was still considering the fact that I will need a piece of equipment that will allow me to make my editing process much better, much more seamless, and just really easier on me. And so I knew I would have to purchase a MacBook at some point in time. Well, that was the choice that I made. Any other laptop is also fine, but I specifically wanted a MacBook. But I still couldn't afford a MacBook. But I actually did know the reasons why I want a MacBook. I knew how much a MacBook costs, and I knew what I wanted to do with the MacBook. And it was just relevant also for the platform that I was creating for, which is YouTube, because I would like to actually churn out content quicker. And that's something that I've actually managed to start doing. Why? Because I actually have a MacBook now. For a long time, I couldn't afford it. And to be quite honest, I still couldn't even afford it now. And I bought a secondhand. But it's still not my dream MacBook. A MacBook Pro, if anybody wants to buy it for me. I'll tell you all the specs. You can just drop me a comment. I'll give you the specs if you want to buy it. But I still know that I'm going to upgrade, but at the moment, what is most important for me is to churn out content quickly, right? I know in the bigger scheme of things, I am going to start using software like Photoshop, Lightroom, Adobe Premiere Pro, and the like, which means I'll need a more powerful machine. So I am planning forward, and I research how I'm going to be able to actually afford it and how I intend to use it so that it's actually beneficial to me. What I want to emphasize is that when you buy your equipment, After a certain period of time, I won't quantify a certain period of time, but the equipment that you've bought should essentially be paid off by the amount of monetary value you get out of using that particular piece of equipment. So if you've bought a camera for your YouTube channel, at some point you should be making enough money from your YouTube channel that has covered the amount that you spent to get your camera. It only makes sense, right? So when you're making that purchase decision for a piece of equipment, you really need to be certain that that's what you want and that's what you need. And also use it for a very, very long time. I had a camera, I had a DSLR camera that I was not using to film for my YouTube, even though I had it, and I decided to use my phone instead. Honestly speaking, I could have used that camera, you know, so it spent a lot of time gathering dust instead of me actually using it, when it actually could have amplified the quality of my content, you know. So when you buy something, use it. If you're not using it, sell it to somebody else who'll be better off with it. Your equipment is an investment, and it should be a good investment. So make sure that you make an informed purchasing decision, do your research, make comparisons. Make sure it's something that you can afford, and make sure that it's something that you're going to use. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video is valuable to you. I'm hoping that you guys are able to purchase equipment that is actually going to be useful for your journey as a content creator, and I will link all the equipment that I have and use in the description box, so that you guys are able to refer to it as one of your sources of research. And if you enjoyed this video, please do like, comment, subscribe, and share. Ningayighodli information. Share it with other people who find it useful, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.